The sun-kissed suburban streets of Oakwood seemed to whisper secrets to those who dared to listen. Behind the perfectly manicured lawns and warm smiles, lies and dreams simmered just below the surface. For Tom and Lisa Jenkins, their ordinary lives were about to take an extraordinary turn. On a sweltering summer afternoon, Tom and Lisa embarked on a renovation project that would change their lives forever. The Jenkins backyard, once a tranquil oasis, was now a dusty construction zone. As they tore down the old patio, the sound of shattering concrete echoed through the neighborhood. As the debris was cleared, a mysterious, yellowed parchment caught Lisa's attention. She gingerly picked it up, blowing off the dirt. Tom, intrigued, peered over her shoulder. The parchment revealed a hand-drawn map, adorned with cryptic symbols and markings. Tom's eyes widened as he grasped the map's significance. This could be it, he thought, his pulse racing. The treasure of Oakwood's legendary prospector, Jacob Flynn. Local lore spoke of Flynn's hidden treasure, a fabled stash of gold and jewels. Many had searched, but none succeeded. The map seemed to hint that the treasure lay hidden beneath their very feet. Lisa's eyes sparkled with excitement as she grasped Tom's hand. Their financial struggles, the weight of their mortgage, and the monotony of their lives suddenly seemed surmountable. As night descended, the Jenkins backyard transformed into a treasure hunter's paradise. Shovels, pickaxes, and spotlights materialized, casting an otherworldly glow. The air vibrated with anticipation. With every shovel load of dirt, the stakes grew higher. Would they uncover a life-changing fortune or merely a myth? The line between reality and fantasy blurred as Tom and Lisa dug deeper, their hearts racing with every passing moment. As the night wore on, their excitement turned to exhaustion. The treasure, if it existed, remained elusive. But the map's secrets lingered, beckoning them to continue the search. The Jenkins' lives were forever intertwined with the mystery of Jacob Flynn's treasure. Little did they know, their pursuit of riches would unravel into a descent of obsession, greed, and ultimately, deadly consequences. The treasure hunt had evolved into an all-encompassing force in Tom and Lisa's lives, dominating every waking moment. Their backyard, once a serene oasis, had transformed into a sprawling excavation site, with trenches and holes crisscrossing the landscape like a maze. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very atmosphere was charged with the promise of hidden riches. As the search intensified, relationships began to fray. Family gatherings, once filled with laughter and warmth, were now reduced to hurried updates on the treasure's status. Relatives grew increasingly concerned, sensing the obsessive grip the hunt had taken on Tom and Lisa. Friends stopped receiving invitations to dinner parties, as the Jenkins' focus narrowed to a singular point. Their marriage, too, began to show signs of strain. Late-night arguments erupted, fueled by differing opinions on the best course of action. Tom advocated for caution, urging Lisa to consider the potential consequences of their discovery. Lisa, however, was driven by visions of wealth and security, pushing for reckless abandon. The tension between them was palpable, a living, breathing entity that pulsed with an energy all its own. Tom's concerns fell on deaf ears, as Lisa's obsession had become contagious, infecting every aspect of their lives. Her fixation had taken on a life of its own, driving her to extremes. Desperate for a breakthrough, the Jenkins invested heavily in experts and equipment. Geologists, archaeologists, and treasure hunters joined the fray, each promising a piece of the pie. The bills mounted, threatening to bankrupt the couple. Their financial stability, once a cornerstone of their relationship, now teetered on the brink of collapse. Tensions boiled over when Tom discovered Lisa's secret meetings with a shady treasure hunter. The man's reputation was dubious, but Lisa saw him as a means to an end. Her willingness to associate with such a character sent Tom's anxiety soaring. Lisa's behavior grew increasingly erratic, fueled by paranoia and greed. She became convinced that neighbors, friends, and even family members were plotting to steal their discovery. Security cameras sprouted around the property, monitoring every movement. The once peaceful backyard was now a virtual fortress. Tom grew increasingly uneasy, sensing the devastating impact Lisa's obsession was having on their relationship. He began questioning whether the treasure was worth the cost. Was their marriage, their sanity, and their very lives worth sacrificing for a dream. One fateful night, Lisa's obsession reached a fever pitch. She stormed into their makeshift command center, brandishing a cryptic message deciphered from the map. Her eyes blazed with an otherworldly intensity, as if the very fabric of reality had been altered. Tom's doubts were momentarily forgotten, swept aside by the tidal wave of Lisa's enthusiasm. Together, they pored over the message, their hearts racing with anticipation. The air was electric, charged with the promise of discovery. But amidst the excitement, a darker reality lurked. Lisa's grip on reality was tenuous at best, her obsession consuming her from the inside out. Tom was trapped in a nightmare, powerless to stop the destructive force that had taken over his wife. As the night wore on, the shadows deepening around them, Tom realized that their quest for treasure had become a descent into madness. The darkness closing in around them would soon consume them whole, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake. The day of reckoning arrived, marked by the unearthly glint of gold in the sunlight. Tom and Lisa's relentless pursuit had finally yielded the treasure they had sacrificed so much for. The chest, adorned with intricate carvings, lay exposed, its contents shimmering with promise. But Lisa's reaction was not what Tom had anticipated. Instead of euphoria, her expression twisted into a grotesque mask of possessiveness. Her grip on reality, tenuous at best, began to slip. The treasure's value was not just monetary. It was a symbol of her own twisted desires. Tom, however, remained grounded, recognizing the importance of reporting their find and paying taxes. He envisioned a future where their newfound wealth would bring stability, not chaos, but Lisa would have none of it. Her refusal to disclose their discovery sparked a heated argument, fueled by Tom's growing unease. The tension between them had been building for months, and now it boiled over. Lisa's rage was a force to behold, her eyes blazing with an unnatural intensity. The dispute escalated, with Lisa's anger morphing into violence. Tom, attempting to reason with her, was met with a ferocity that left him reeling. The sound of shattering glass, crunching bone, and Lisa's primal screams echoed through the backyard. In a fit of rage, Lisa struck Tom with a nearby shovel, ending his life in an instant. The silence that followed was oppressive, punctuated only by Lisa's ragged breathing. Panic set in as Lisa struggled to comprehend the gravity of her actions. She stumbled through the aftermath, her mind racing with frantic thoughts. Covering up the crime became her sole focus. With calculated precision, Lisa began to erase any evidence of Tom's existence. She scrubbed the crime scene, disposing of any incriminating materials. The treasure, once a symbol of their shared dreams, now represented her sole means of survival. In the dead of night, under the cover of darkness, Lisa dug a grave in their backyard, mere feet from where they had unearthed the treasure. She buried Tom's lifeless body, her hands shaking as she covered him with dirt. The finality of her actions dawned on her as she patted the earth flat. She had become a murderer, hiding her crime beneath the very treasure that had driven them apart. As the days passed, Lisa's anxiety grew. She knew the police would soon arrive, searching for Tom. The treasure, hidden away, seemed to mock her, its presence a constant reminder of her heinous crime. Lisa's transformation from devoted wife to cold-blooded killer was complete. Her descent into madness had begun, fueled by paranoia and desperation. The hours ticked by, each one bringing Lisa closer to the abyss. Her grip on reality faltered, and she became lost in a labyrinth of her own making. Detectives Rachel Mitchell and Michael Reynolds arrived at the Jenkins residence, responding to a report of Tom's disappearance. Lisa greeted them with a mixture of concern and composure, but her demeanor betrayed a hint of nervousness. Initially, the detectives suspected foul play, given Tom's abrupt vanishing. They began questioning Lisa, probing for inconsistencies in her story. She claimed Tom had left for a business trip, but her alibi lacked concrete details. As the investigation progressed, Lisa's inconsistencies mounted. Her accounts of Tom's whereabouts contradicted statements from his colleagues and friends. Detectives sensed deception, their instincts honed from years of experience. Forensic experts scoured the Jenkins property, uncovering subtle signs of disturbance. A faint trail of bloodstains on the backyard patio caught their attention. Lisa's cleaning efforts had missed a crucial spot. Neighbors were interrogated and some eyewitnesses came forward, recounting strange noises and arguments emanating from the Jenkins residence on the night of Tom's disappearance. The puzzle pieces began to fall into place. Detectives discovered a hidden journal belonging to Tom, detailing his growing unease about Lisa's behavior. The entries spoke of her increasing paranoia and possessiveness regarding the treasure. With warrants in hand, police searched the property, unearthing the hidden treasure chest. The connection to Tom's murder became unmistakable. Detectives realized Lisa had killed Tom to maintain control over the treasure. As evidence mounted, Lisa's facade crumbled. Her composure gave way to desperation, and she began to make mistakes. A torn fabric caught in the backyard fence matched the material of her clothing. Confronted with the evidence, Lisa's world began to implode. The detectives' questions turned accusatory, and her responses grew erratic. The investigation culminated in Lisa's arrest, charging her with Tom's murder. As she was led away in handcuffs, the treasure chest sat silently in the evidence room, its secrets finally exposed. Lisa's trial was a spectacle. The once ordinary housewife's descent into madness and greed was laid bare for the world to witness. Prosecutors presented a damning case, highlighting Lisa's calculated actions and blatant inconsistencies. Tom's journal, now a pivotal piece of evidence, revealed the depths of Lisa's obsession. The defense attempted to argue temporary insanity, but the jury remained unconvinced. Lisa's own testimony, marked by erratic outbursts and defiant denials, sealed her fate. After deliberating for hours, the jury delivered their verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom erupted into a mixture of gasps and somber nods. Judge Thompson's sentencing was swift and severe, life imprisonment without parole. Lisa's face contorted in a mix of shock and despair as the reality of her situation sunk in. As Lisa was led away in handcuffs, the courtroom fell silent. The destructive power of obsession and greed had claimed another victim, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Tom's family, though relieved by the verdict, couldn't help but mourn the loss of a loved one. Their statements to the press reflected a sense of tragic inevitability. The community, once enthralled by the treasure hunt, now recoiled in horror. The Jenkins story served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition. In the years that followed, Lisa's name became synonymous with greed and betrayal. Her story inspired true crime documentaries and psychological studies, probing the depths of human depravity. As for the treasure, it was auctioned off to settle Tom's estate, its value diminished by the bloodshed it had inspired. In the end, Lisa's insatiable hunger for wealth had cost her everything: her marriage, her freedom, and her very soul. What lessons do you think society can learn from this case? Share your thoughts below. If you found this story compelling, please consider sharing it to spread awareness. Like this video, subscribe to uncover more true crime stories where deception and truth collide. Click here to watch another chilling case in our series.